lot of different stuff that can and doesn't, both ways, that become issues that doesn't affect performance, and some that really do.
Sorry, guys, I somehow busted a chair out.
Yeah. He backed it into the turn 3 wall is what happened, and now we got crew chief Sam over here fixing it.
It was on the bars. There we go, Sam. That's close enough. I'll try to be careful.
No, it's not in right there.
We'll see. I was going to hit Corey with it.
Good.
So going back to this whole deal, it just simplifies everything if everybody gets on the same page. And if that means Iron Giant Series setting the standard by this set of rules and forcing tracks to follow, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. I want to know your thoughts on this, guys.
I just told you.
Well, Sam, you're over there looking at me like, don't even get me involved. I'm going to get you involved. You know I'm going to do it.
Because you're repeating yourself, and I think it's funny.
No, I want...
Because you make fun of me for repeating myself.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. My whole take is if they release their rules right at the end of race season.
2 days after race season ends.
2 days after race season ends. That gives everybody the time to do it. Drop it down. Tracks are either going to pick it up or they're not. Those racers can make their decision, do it. I wouldn't wait on any track owner or promoter for anything.
I agree.
I would just set it and do it and say,
yes,
these are the rules.
Absolutely.
And that's just it. Like, I don't care what anyone's opinion is about firewalls. I don't care what your opinion is on tires. I don't care what your opinion is on 4-barrel, 2-barrel. It doesn't matter. Just set the rules 2 days after the season.
100%.
If the guys want to do it, great. And you're not going to have a lot of guys complain because people need structure. People need leadership.
Where was the controversy?
Bar angles on one of the cars. There was actually a lot of stuff that... So, okay, here's a question.
I'm just asking.
At the Iron Giant, one particular car had more complaints filed on it. Who was it?
I don't know.
What one car had more complaints than any other car?
Probably Yeack's.
Wrong.
Really?
It was a 99 of Justin Evans.
I had a feeling that might
happen.
Okay.
And the things that were actually, they were talked to about, completely silly. It's somebody looking for something to get an official on the car to find something. Desperate attempts, okay? Okay, so one thing I want to point out, this is on the Swears Trucking chat line. One thing I want to point out, we just had no issues at Southern Oregon. We had no issues at Madras. We go to Grove and it becomes the whining racetrack of the series. And most of the complaining was by racers that aren't following the series.
Okay, so you had maybe some, whatever.
Okay. Regardless, I'm all for this series. I love that series. I love what they're doing. I think it's got so much potential, so much growth. Sky's the limit. Just simplify things. Simplify things like Sam just said. Put your rules out.
Bar angles?
Yes, there's a bar angle issue on trailing arms that they can't be. I think it's 2.5 or 3 inches above.
All the street stock drivers were getting nailed for at Willamette that are running metric cars. It's the same rule that they're running.
And it's a metric car issue, really, yeah. Here's another thing that I have an issue with, okay?
What side of the bed did you wake up on today,
No, I'm just,
by the way?
this is basic, simple stuff that should never happen. It's gonna. Okay. This is something, and in our conversation, this is something that James and I disagreed on, okay? But James and I can sit down and have an intelligent conversation, and we don't have to agree on anything, and we can still walk out pals and shake hands and go drink a beer.
Well, he lets you believe that.
I was going to say that's what you think.
So
he lets you believe
here is one thing that and not that it made a difference. It didn't make a difference. Nobody got DQ'd, and they wouldn't have been DQ'd. I'm talking about the winner, Kyle Yeack. Mm-hmm. It's the principle of what happened. When you lose a body part on the track and you win the race and you pull off and get on the scale, you can't put that body part back on the car while it's on the scale to make weight. You can't. I have never heard of another racetrack ever doing that.
It was a plastic bumper, though.
This is why I'm saying it doesn't matter. Yeah. It wouldn't have disqualified him anyway. It's the principle. What if?
I think they were carrying it back because they handed it to him.
and they put it on the car on the scale.
It's going up to the scales. It's just in line. They threw it on there. I mean, I'm not sticking up. I'm just saying.
Regardless,
I was right there.
that is something that should never happen.
Okay.
Think about this.
I told you I wasn't turning those cameras off until he got back to the.
No, think about this though. That's almost going with the same principle of, well, I burned off 26 gallons of fuel during the race. I'm going to put it back in the car while it's on the scale, and if I make weight, then I win. Okay. You can't take weight off the car, win a race, finish second, third, or fourth, or any other tech position, get to the scale, and put that stuff back on the car. You did not finish the race with that on there. The rules say cars must weigh X amount of weight after the race. Doesn't say anything about you can't put parts back on the car. Okay, and in this case, I'm not saying that anybody cheated. I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm talking about the principle of the rule. I have never heard of another racetrack or another race ever doing that.
Yeah.
That is something that just should not.
What if I told you I actually went, I wouldn't have done that when it happened, but I'm like, it's just a bumper, and I walked away.
Well, and that's the thing. In this case, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, it was
I mean, had that been a bumper that weighed 45 pounds?
Well, yeah, 2 bumpers, not just a plastic cover. Yeah,
right. Then you're talking that you can't. In this case, obviously, and we all know it didn't make a difference. He was still 30 pounds over or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's just the whole fact of the matter of I've never heard of anybody else doing that.
Yeah, I do remember that vividly when they took it, they gave it to him, and he threw it on the deck lid and went through, and he was waiting to get on scales. I'm like, geez, I don't know if I do that.
Yeah.
Or I thought to myself, well, I'm dumb. Maybe they need it. Maybe they told him to put it out. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Sam, tell me.
What?
You got that look. I want to know.
Well, it's scales to me are funny. I told you a story earlier about.
And we're going to talk about that.
That it's just scaling a car. Okay, cool. How many times do you need to weigh the dang thing in an event?
Well, I think you need to weigh it once, and then after the win or the top, whatever gets weighed.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're in a top 5 and they say we're going to weigh the top 5 cars, those are the cars that get weighed after the feature. Anything fifth on back really doesn't matter unless one of those guys gets DQ'd and the next guy bumps up.
I get that they're trying to keep it honest and fair to the best of their abilities, but some things I think, like Justin went over the scale so many times.
He did.
That, to me, you're making more work for yourself. Does that make sense? As an official, you're making more work for yourself.
Creating your own controversy.
To do it.
But you're telling me that people were already picking it apart, so meaning the controversy over his car for some reason.
Well, yeah, I mean,
so then that's probably
when you win a lot of races and you're that fast, you're always cheating somehow. I mean, that's.
Well, I'm sure that coming to that race, knowing that he was coming after his 2 back-to-back wins like that people were going to scrutinize it.
Oh, sure,
You know?
and if you're that guy, I'm talking about Kyle Yeack specifically, that's coming in as a 3-time winner, looking for your 4th win, and you get it, and you know, like you said, everybody's gunning for your car. They're going to be looking at it. Do you really think you're going to come in with something illegal in the car?
No.
You're going to take that risk?
No.
Those guys aren't going to do that.
And he doesn't even need to.
Right. Well, and you're exactly right. I mean, doesn't need to. And again, and I'm not saying that, I'm not talking bad about anybody. I'm just saying I've just never seen people pick up parts off the track, put it back on the car, and let them scale. I mean, that's just, I've never seen that. I was kind of like, they did what?
That's
really?
what I said, but I thought, well, it couldn't be a big deal.
In this case, it's not.
Well, if
what's a rear bumper cover? I mean, a plastic one.
Maybe 13 pounds, if that. Really. I
mean, that's on the heavy end.
Oh yeah, I'm saying.
Now, had it been a metal bumper that weighed 30 pounds,
yeah.
and he makes weight, now he was 30 pounds over anyway, from what the reports I got. It didn't make a difference, but it's just the whole what? Really different.
And I mean, at Tech, they took the hood off. They took everything apart. They looked at it really good. They spent time on it, and they looked at, very.
It sounded like Tech was actually. I mean, they were on it.
It was Tech. Like I say, but no, I was really impressed. In fact, we were the reason we watched it so long is we were waiting for him to get off the scale so we could get the cameras because we didn't want to touch anything.
Sure. Yeah. You risk getting the guy DQ'd. Yeah.
Sam got him DQ'd.
No, never happened.
Sam says no way.
So Tom wouldn't win.
I know Sam, and Sam wouldn't touch that car until it was over at the trailer. I just know how he rolls. He's got enough respect for drivers like that.
Oh, yes, he does.
I mean, we were told by IMCA to race that we couldn't mount cameras under. We didn't know this. And Sam was like, I mean, he couldn't get to the car fast enough to dismount that camera.
Yeah, I think there's something about electronical devices.
It's just looking at suspension, seeing how they say it's too much of a learning tool.
You can't have it pointing at the rear. Yeah.
It can't be under the deck at all.
Correct.
And I got it pointed out to the back staring at race cars.
Yeah.
So going back to the scale issue, okay, this is maybe something we'll do something a whole show on, because we had a particular driver that scaled their car at the house, and they were 33-35. Okay. They get to the track, and they scale after, I think it was after their heat. Am I right when I say that? After the heat. Oh, no, it was 33-66 at the house. They scale after their heat at the Wallabanger, and they were 33-30. Knowing that they're getting kind of close, the feature is going to be 50 laps.
That's pretty edgy.
They went and got a 12-pound weight, put it on the car, scaled it before the feature, and the car gained 75 pounds. This is, and again, scales are a tool of precision. They can be wrong. In favor, I mean, either way, light or heavy.
Well, either that or it picked up a lot of mud.
No, because the mud was scraped off the car and sitting in a pile.
I mean, this was.
I'm just throwing
right.
I know.
variables.
That was during the discussion. That's what was brought up, and I'm like, how is your car 70 pounds heavier?
It's making fuel.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
Wow.
Huh. And Endicott, Brett Endicott's got a point here. He says, not to sound arrogant, but had Andrew won, would there even be a discussion about Kyle's bumper?
No.
Well, he would have been second probably.
Yeah.
Would there be a discussion about Kyle's bumper?
Who knocked it off?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, who's that?
Yeah,
but yes, there would have been. Honestly, there would have been a discussion about Kyle's bumper had that bumper been allowed to get on the car prior to the scales. I don't care what car it is. You know, Kyle, Andrew, Justin Evans, Dakota Goddard, Mackenzie Locker. I don't care. It's just that I've never seen that done is my whole point about that. That can be a deal where you make or break a guy or ruin a race.
Yeah.
You know, with $2,000 on the line, had that car come across the scales only 10 pounds over, and you just put that part on the car that came off during the race, there's going to be some more controversy.
Yeah. Well, again.
But, I mean, again, not that it matters in this case. I mean, without that bumper cover, it was still completely legal.
I don't know that I trust the scale anyway, though.
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, when you put a 12-pound weight on and the scale says you just gained 75 pounds, I mean, that's kind of...
Andrew says, I think it fell off on its own. I barely touched it.
Okay, Langan.
I barely touched it. I wouldn't know. There was a big old dirt cloud right in the middle of the camera.
It couldn't have been seriously, that camera had to have the cloud of mud. I remember we took it off and went, oh, no.
Well, and look what happened with Kyle Yeack's win at Willamette when he passed Tardio by 2/1000ths of a second. The lap before, the camera catches a piece of mud. All you can see is sparks flying off the wall as Kyle's making the pad. Totally ruined the whole race.
Because I was like, I'm sure Andrew's going to want to see what the cameras inside looked like. Yeah, seen nothing. Oh.
Sad moment. Yep. Sad moment.
We got some good footage of Dakota. We got some. Did you get some of Bloom? I think
Bloom's camera got knocked back during the main event, so I'm still going through a main event footage. I don't know if I just have the heart to do it though.
And then we actually got to wrench on a car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys did. I heard you guys jumped in and helped out one of the guys.
Well, Dakota, I've worked on that car for a long time, and we got there, and he says, "Oh my gosh, the rear end's locked up." So felt the shifter, it flapped back and forth. He says, let's first start with the shifter. Got the shifter straightened out. Of course, the rear end's still locked up. Sean drive shaft, sure enough, locked up. So I popped the axles out. A bunch of people were just throwing down gears for him. It was really nice. And Yeack actually gave him a set of gears.
I heard everybody came together, yeah.
Everybody came together. I sent Dakota to get gear lube, put it in. Got him back out. He ran his B main, and he went from the back to fifth. I mean, the very back to the fifth. He was angry, ready to go, but just wasn't enough. He spun on this last lap. And
I saw the video. It's up on Moxie, and what a heartbreaker. He was racing for the final transfer spot.
That's all he was trying to do is get that transfer spot, and he just missed it. But what a good show. I was really impressed with him, I'll be honest with you. I never really